guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel. And for the past week, I've been rereading the story that I'm going to rewrite for NaNoWriMo. And I just have so many thoughts. So many. 9 specifically that I'm going to share with you. And even the amount of thoughts I have cannot compare to the amount of work that I'm going to be doing this November on this story. Oh my gosh. And November starts in just over a week. Oh, I'm stressing. But in the spirit of authortube, in the spirit of preptober, I figured I would share 3 things that I did really well in my zero draft, 3 things that I did not so well, and 3 things that just, why? I mean, 3 things that I thought were a good idea. How? But first, let's cue the montage of me rereading and taking copious notes about the zero draft while I was traveling through Vermont. We're back. If you're curious what the story's about, I will link above in the cards and down below the video where I came up with my spiel for this story, or be my nano buddy and you can check it out on my profile. It's all right there. So let's get into the good, the bad, and the very, very ugly. But let's start positive. The good, number 1. Voice. This girl is a spitfire, and honestly in the kind of way that I think we all are in our head, except that she's just writing a book. There were several notes that I took where I was just like, LOL, I'm just enjoying reading her thoughts. Let's see if I can find it. LOL at interaction with friend in the first chapter. This one got a trollolololol, poor girl. LOL at the mom. This is just the great note taking I have. I mean, there are really good notes in here, but sometimes when I'm just thinking something's funny, I just go ahead and put it down to kind of like reassure myself, I guess. LOL at them talking shit about the prince. LOL. LOL. And now the bad, number 2, clues. She'll talk about things like, this should have been my first clue, and this should have been my second clue, and never do I reveal what the clues were leading up to. What were the clues for, Kate? Who knows? It took several rereads for me, the writer, to figure out what I was going for. It was so bad. It was all 1 chapter too, and I was just like, so I'm gonna have to like totally take that out of the chapter or make it make sense. And I don't know which task will be harder. And the very, very ugly 3rd thought is this effing timeline. Timelines are the bane of my existence. Why? I feel like if I don't have a timeline error somewhere in every single story I have, then I didn't write it. Someone else wrote it, because me and timeline errors were becoming one. First up, I have the main character and the prince kidnapped for only 36 hours, and I must have changed that idea, which is smart. It needs to be changed. But then like later in the story, I talk about it being 5 days captured. I need that prolonged freakout. I need this to be a big deal, and 36 hours doesn't quite convey how big a deal this is. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been a big deal in real life if it were to happen, being captured alongside a prince for 36 hours. I'm not saying that, but it needs to be the whole 7 days. 7 days is what I've decided on, but then that means that I'm gonna have to add 132 more hours of drama at the beginning. And I allude to it throughout the rest of the book, but it's like, yeah, again, there was clearly some point in my mind I decided that this was not enough and I changed it, and so the back half of the novel is probably okay, but that means this first chunk, oh buddy. And then the good, thought number 4, the relationships that the characters have with each other, not just the main character and her writing the book, which is absolutely true, but also like her parents are divorced and they're kind of coming back together and living under one roof for her to be with her, and seeing their interactions through her eyes is just fascinating. And no, they're not gonna get back together or anything. I mean, that's not really a spoiler. Like, that's not the point of it. They divorced when she was like 8 or 10, I think. I'm gonna have to double check this. But so for her, this is such a weird experience to have the family so close again. And so watching that it's fascinating. And then this strained, confused relationship she shares with the prince, being the only two people who went through this very traumatic and tragic event together, but not knowing each other outside of that circumstance. I think I actually did that really well and pulled it off for each one. So that part was a joy to read. The bad, number 5. Is this girl an athlete or not? Like, I mentioned multiple times that she's on the soccer team. But do we ever see the soccer team? When she goes back to school for the limited time that she does before the media attention is just too much, do we ever see them? No. It's referenced a bunch, but do we ever see that? No. And she's said to be like friends with them, but you wouldn't be able to tell because you never see them. This wouldn't be that big of a problem within itself, except that I do need a relationship outside of her best friend. So that's just gonna have to be fixed. But then also, let's level this athletic thing up a bit. I say that she can't run. She says several times, she's like, she's a bad runner and she doesn't like to run and blah, blah, blah. Have y'all seen soccer? Yeah, it involves a lot of running. Running with a ball, running down the field, running. You can't be bad at running. You can't be on the varsity soccer team and be bad at running. Like, even if you're the goalie, I don't know that they allow that. The team serves a purpose, and I need that purpose to still be there. But I'm gonna have to go through and edit so much stuff out and so much stuff back in. And then the ugly, the 6th thought is who done it? Who kidnapped them? Why did they kidnap them? Who knows? I skipped a whole chunk of story, just so much story, and was like, okay, future self, just figure it out. So I have to figure that out in nanos in a week. This is important because it is her testimony and her memory and at her insistence that she finally figures out who actually did it or helps people to figure it out. Like, it is her. It is central. It's central to the story. So many of these things I'm saying are central to the story, and that's the problem, is that they're central and they're not there. And that's true of this one. This is a huge wrap-up plot point that I'm gonna have to figure out, and I think arguably this will take the most amount of work of any of the things that I need to fix. And I have to include woven in clues, actual clues, not this should have been my second clue kind of thing. No, like real clues. I, the writer, have to figure them out and put them in the story. The good, number 7, all of the little things. Honestly, there are whole sections of the story, I want to say honestly like a third of the story, where so my notes went from very comprehensive and like things that needed to be changed. So like, you know, they're kind of grouped together by chapter, and then it just went, this whole page is just immediate thoughts and feelings as it goes. Like, I was like, oh, this is so sad. Why is this so sad? Oh, I love this character. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. I love this conversation between the two. Like, it's those kind of things, like very reactionary things, because I didn't have anything that I needed to change. Nothing that was immediately evident. And it was good. A whole third of the story was actually pretty good. And I would get lost in the story and I wouldn't think to make a comment until after, and that's why I have all these reactionary bits instead of like active improvement points, and that's just so freaking awesome. I wish it was for more of the story, but to have a zero draft do that, like, I'm happy. The bad, thought number 8, let's go back to the whole timeline error thing, because it's not enough that, you know, the whole beginning needs to be fixed, but also, what freaking month is it? Who knows? Did this happen in October or December or Thanksgiving, because I reference Thanksgiving as a point within the story, like an anchor point, like, oh, it's this many days to Thanksgiving, or like it happened a week after Thanksgiving or something. None of that could have happened. I have to choose one. One of like 4 different scenes has to be chosen to be the actual correct timing. There are just so many things I think I'm actually going to have to get a physical calendar and like jot it out because oh my gosh. And the ugly, number 9. There are so many skipped scenes. Welcome to the zero draft process for me. But every time it's ugly. When you look back in it and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna have to write some of these scenes. I'm gonna have to include them in for the first time ever and hope that what I had planned is gonna work and that I can finagle it in there and have it make sense. So many skip scenes. This story's actually at 55,000 words, which is long for me for a zero draft. So in my head, once I include all of those skip scenes, it's gonna be like 75,000 words. Yeah, you heard that right. 20,000 words of skipped scenes. That's like a third of the book right now. I'm gonna have to include a whole other third of a book inside of this book to get where it needs to be. So, you know, some good, some bad, some very, very ugly. This is revision. Welcome to the 8th circle of hell. But what would a zero draft or any draft be without some good, some bad, and some very, very ugly? I guess it would be done. If it didn't have some bad and some very, very ugly, it'd be done. And clearly this is nowhere near done yet, but I'm gonna work to get it done. So please comment down below and let me know if you've ever made a mistake in your zero or first draft and read it back later and just been like, what were you thinking? And also please let me know if you're getting as like good anxious as I am about the start of NaNoWriMo. It's so soon, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see y'all with another video very soon. Bye. But in the spirit of authortube, but in this, my bra showing. I don't know. Frickin' Norman, Oklahoma. I don't know you. Stop calling me.